Yeah, well,
Well, good afternoon. After a bit of a false start, moving boxes and moving cameras and all sorts, I think we are live and we're here in Denmark for round 3 of the Great Southern Footy League. My name's Mark Foreman, here with the Great Southern Footy League Operations Manager Ian Beck. Afternoon, Ian.
afternoon, Mark. Just fighting some roadworks and just getting set up beautifully here at McLean Oval.
Well, it is a beautiful oval. This is my first visit to McLean Park, but it's been a heck of a time getting here. Roadworks and moving boxes, and I think we finally found our spot here on the wing, just up in front of the interchange. So a good day for footy as well. The rain sort of kept away, and as you would have seen through the live stream, it is a goal apiece to start the game. So. And pretty good footy early on too. So we'll get into a call very shortly. Ian, it's been a tough start for Denmark this season, but look, made a promising start to this game. But I think a lot of this season will be about continuing the development of those young players.
They tried also 189 points round 1, 104 round 2. So hoping for, get a little bit closer each time.
Look, I didn't want to talk specifics, but they haven't been on the end of some great results. But look, like I said, a really good start, and I suppose with young teams you are going to get ebbs and flows in the game, but that's what they'll be looking to sort of develop this season, I imagine. And
playing at home and redevelop back in 2018. They upgraded the playing surface, which previously was bog.
Well, there you go. Actually, yes, I was told last night, actually, that there was a relaying of the turf, and it does look good. It looks in really good condition. Nice to watch a game of footy out here on a reasonably nice autumn day, as it's going to be a free kick to the Magpies in the centre of the ground, and they go forward. There is a spare player at centre half forward. Good spoil. Running back with the flight of the footy, I think that was Darcy Wallinger for Mount Barker, and they turn the footy over, and the mark is taken out on the outer wing. So it's 1-1-7, the Magpies. Mount Barker 1 straight 6. That goal, by the way, kicked by Campbell McMahon. I'm sure you saw the mark during the taken last week by Campbell McMahon. Did you see the photos of that, Becky?
Oh, it was the most insane mark I've ever seen. Fantastically captured too.
It really was. I think there were 4 images we saw in the advertiser, which was great, a moment that he'll certainly remember. I'm sure he's got plenty to brag about with his mates for that one. But it's a free kick to the Maggies at half back. They go in short. Good little pick up there as well. Flicked off to a teammate. They go long down the line, and a good mark taken. So they maintain the footy on the outer side of the ground.
Josh Thompson.
Yeah, they've found a free man. He's running, sort of runs out of space, flares it out to this interchange wing. Tried to go off the deck, the Mount Barker player. Couldn't get it, picked up, and they've got the outnumber here, Denmark. They work it well, kick downfield. There is an outnumber there, and I think Mount Barker will turn it over. Good pick up, and a good sidestep as well, as they send it forward to this half-forward flank, right half-forward for Mount Barker, who are fighting a little 3-on-1. They'll probably want to take this footy out, and they can't. And it is a turnover as Denmark try and win the footy. Good tackle there, pin the arm, but well done by that player to get a kick away, and we'll have a ball in just in front of the in between the interchange gates on this broadcast wing.
Denmark showing some spirit early. Good to see.
Absolutely, and I think with the start they've had, the longer they can stay in the game, the more sniff they'll get, and the more belief as well. That's just what they need today, is to try and find their way into this season, and certainly make a fist of it as the umpire comes in to ball this one up again.
And both teams searching for their first victory. Barker obviously drew in round 1 with Royals, 78 apiece, so both hoping to make some indents into the ladder. Just going down to centre half forward, and Ben Kirkwood with the kick.
And the umpire's called him to take it again, I think. Come back behind your mark. Perhaps it wasn't his kick. I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe he wasn't behind the mark properly there. It is 1-1-7, the Magpies. They're leading Mount Barker 1 straight 6. But I think Kirkwood's going to try and have a shot at goal here. No, he doesn't. I thought he might have been a bit too far out. He takes the short option, and he finds a teammate in that man we were talking about, Campbell McMahon. He probably fancies himself here. Confidence sky high.
Yeah, he's already kicked one, so why not? He's certainly going back. He's
taking marks and kicking goals. A good young player, I'm told. A good little lively forward, and he's certainly showing that early. He starts his approach from the boundary line. It looks like he'll kick from the 50-metre arc, so I'm not sure he'll have the leg here. He sends it on its way. He does have the journey, but it is to this near side, so that's the first blemish for Mount Barker this afternoon. Takes their score to 117 to tie things up with Denmark, who are, like we said, made a promising start to this, although that's not a good kick out. Mark is intercepted, and they'll come back, and I think that might be Dylan Gowdy who's taken the intercept mark, and he chips the ball infield, and he finds his teammate Zach Jackson. So, of course, a name that we know around these regions.
Yeah. Well, he's back because he was playing with East Fremantle.
Yeah, I thought was it East Fremantle or Perth?
Yeah, one of them.
I think it might be Perth. And look, certainly did play last week in the WAFL as he takes his shot on goal and he drags it to the left. But yeah, a late inclusion, I'm told. So I'm not sure what's going on. I believe his Waffle Club, I thought it was Perth, but maybe we'll check that at quarter time. But they're playing West Coast in the WAFL this week, so maybe he thought, I'll have a rest and I'll go down and play for Barker.
This is huge news because he was the co-Clement medalist and leading goal kicker, so he was a huge loss for Barker. So this could be, you've heard it here first.
Yeah, I did have a chat to, I was speaking to the Mount Barker president during the week and didn't quite get to ask whether this is a permanent move or just a little one-off game. So we'll certainly have a look at that. But Zach Jackson back in the Great Southern Footy League, which is good, and I'm sure a lot of people looking forward to watching him as the Maggies go forward here to centre half forward. There's a fist behind from the Mount Barker defender, and they pick it up and they win it at ground level, and they've got players running out wide here again as they send a long kick forward, but it's all Denmark back there and a good intercepting mark. The blue boots, that'll be a 50-metre penalty. Oh, that's not great from Jackson. Oh, I thought it was a 50. Oh, he's just called him to come back. That's all he said, although not a good kick, and it is out of bounds from the Denmark defender. I thought the player encroached on the mark there, and it was a 50-metre penalty. Not doing. Good little inboard kick taken by Dan Patching, who sends it inside forward 50. Mark can't be taken by Jackson there, and he evades a few. He does very well. He's surrounded, shares it with his teammate Patching again, who sends a ball into the forward pocket, but the intercepting mark taken in the back pocket by Denmark. They take the short option. Inboard. Handball flicked out wide, and they've effected the switch, and they do have a player on the outer wing there as they transition the ball. Yeah, Barry Roberts on that far wing takes the mark, and he sort of holds it up now and tries to assess the options he's got. He sends this one in the middle of the ground. It is a good option, and it's well held there as well. A good mark there by, I think it's Evan Delbane.
A basketball prodigy.
And there you go, who chips it into the middle. They're sharing it around well here. That's Simon Barker, who now sends it long inside forward 50, just, I think it's on the top of that 50-metre arc, but Mount Barker will repel again, and they share it by hand. Although it doesn't hit the target, there's a bit of time out here for the Mount Barker player, who uses that out number, taps it to himself, picks it up now and sends the ball down the wing. As a good little one-on-one, good body work to create the outnumber as well, and a really good block from the Mount Barker player. They can share it around, and look, I can't quite see who that player is, but he sends it inside the forward 50. Not the best option, I think, for Mount Barker. Yeah, I think it was Walsh, and he couldn't find a teammate. And it's Denmark who can repel. A good mark taken again by Roberts. He's been busy early. And he sends it forward, although not the best kick. It looks like Mount Barker will turn it over again. They do. Shares it by hand. That was Cody Kerr, who now feeds back, and Mount Barker can attack. Although he's not sure about his options, although he looks out wide. Oh, big collision. Both players up to their feet very quickly. Good footy there, and they share it round, and Mount Barker retain possession. And I think that's Joel Gray. Quick young player, good ball mover as well, I'm told. It kicks inside 50. Mount Barker player can't get the ball away, and umpire says holding the ball. Thought the second tackler might have come in a little high, but nope. Umpire says all good. And again, good forward pressure from Denmark.
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon me, defensive pressure from Denmark.
Good spirit. Still 1-1 each, so Denmark holding their own.
Absolutely. It is a sneaky 1 point lead, I think, to the Barker, but no. Point remains, they are performing very well, I think, as they go forward again, Mount Barker. Ooh, who's wearing the orange boots out there, Ian? That might be Campbell McMahon again, I think, as he sends a good kick inside forward 50, and the mark is taken. This might be our man, Jackson.
Yes.
I think it is. Wearing number 15 today, Zach Jackson. And look, I can see, well, my first time watching him play, but I can see why he won the Kleeman medalist. The Kleeman medal. He moves around well in the forward line and certainly made himself busy early. He takes the shot from about 40 metres out in the right forward pocket, and I think he's hung that one out to the right. So it's another minor score for the Bulls. They lead this one 139 to Denmark 117. And the last kick in didn't go so well, and I think that player's popped it down for his teammate. So we'll see how this one goes.
He's relinquished the duties after one kick.
Rubbish. Get back on the horse as they play on from fullback. Not the worst option. They drive it long. They're 70 metres out. It is intercepted, although it's a bit of a scramble, and they've won it back here, Denmark. Good evasive... he did evade one tackler, but he couldn't get past Ben Kirkwood, I think it is, who wins the free kick, sends it inside 50. Here's Jackson again. He wins a handball, gets it off to a teammate who's well tackled, although there's enough numbers there running inside forward 50, shooting at goal. And that is Reece Hogg who finishes it off for the Bulls. That's their second of the day, and they worked that well via the outnumber. And we're able to, sort of draw a few tacklers, and it was Hogg who finishes off. It's the Bulls, who have now kicked 2 in a row in response to the Magpies' opening goal. Still showing a lot of spirit, but 2-3-15, Mount Barker leads this one against Denmark, 117.
Magpies just starting to struggle to get it out of their defensive area. Maybe need to go to plan B with their kick-ins, I believe.
Yeah. Maybe. Probably playing on is the order of the day there. As the ball is back in the middle, and we're sort of getting used to our new little vantage point here, Ian. I had to change broadcast positions, but we're getting there now as the umpire throws it up, and there's a big scrap of players. It looks like Mount Barker will come away with it, and getting busy in there again was Reece Hogg, the goal kicker. He's hanging around. At least he's one we can identify quite easy, Ian. It's a hefty beard there. There's a bit of a scrap going on, and Hogg's involved in that as well. I think he's pushing and shoving with Taylor Lemon. But it's Mount Barker who wins the footy, and busy early is is Ben Kirkwood, as he sends this one wide, inside forward 50. 2 players go at it, sock it off the deck, so Mount Barker send it forward a further 5 metres. Trying to pick up the ball there, I think that was Penny, who couldn't quite do so, and we'll have a secondary stoppage. Will we? Umpire's a bit slow with the whistle. He's letting them go. He now blows the whistle. We'll have a secondary stoppage. We're about 30 metres out from the Bulls' goal. As the players scrap for it again, and we'll have another stoppage. Just a little bit of a lull in this one. It is the Bulls who lead this one by 8 points, probably halfway through the first quarter. As tap one down by Mount Barker. Again, can't get clean possession. They're holding strong here, the Magpies. Although, that's a good chase down tackle. Although the Magpies player gets a handball away, picked up again. They go in. It's going to be hard going today. It's one out the back by the Bulls, who scramble to kick forward. But it's all Denmark there, and the intercepting mark taken by Brendan... Is that Girac? I think it's Brendan Girac.
Brendan Girac.
Yep.
Best on ground last week for Denmark Walpole, so he's in a bit of form. Let's see how they go moving it out of defence this time. Oh, he's off!
He is off. He even sells some candy as the defender goes long down the wing. There is another outnumber there, so they sort of keep going to those odd-numbered contests. But fortunately, they've won a free kick, so they go now into the centre of the ground. This one's got to hit the target. It does, and a good lunging mark. Taken, by Harford, and they hold the footy. Ball bounces in front of his teammate out there in the wing. Good evasive skills. There's a few good young players around, and they win the footy. They go inside forward 50. It gets over the back. Here's a real chance for for Denmark. Has he kicked it? I think he has. He's kicked a good goal. Ball sneaked over the back, and I think it's Carlton Godfrey who's kicked that goal. Opportunistic. And it looks like he's going to come to the bench for a rest as well.
He certainly got on his bike there when he saw the opportunity, didn't he? I've never seen his legs run so fast.
Like all good forwards do. They see an opportunity and they think, this is where I'll spend my energy.
And I'm hating this. Godfrey's just got... runs off for a spell on the bench after kicking... What a great goal.
Absolutely. He's kicked a sausage roll and he's happy about it too. He comes for a rest. And that is Denmark's second goal, 2-1-13. They trail Mount Barker 2-3-15. So again, a nice tight start to this one, sort of deep in the first quarter.
Magpies very effective going forward. Gone inside twice and scored twice.
Certainly are, as the umpire throws the footy up. It's going to be Mount Barker who clear through that man patching again, although his kick's not great, and it is intercepted. That might be, I think that might be a man again. Is that Godfrey? No, pardon me, not Godfrey. Best on ground last week. Who was that? Who was that you mentioned, Ian? I think it might have been Durack out there.
Godfrey's having a rest.
Yeah. I should have known better there. As Mount Barker win the footy on the far wing, here's patching again. Yeah, certainly been busy early. Sends it forward. That's a much better kick, and he hits a teammate in. I think that's McMahon over there with the orange boots. He skews the ball in the middle. I'm not sure that was the intended target. This one might work out. It's picked up by his teammate. Oh, sends it forward. Mark can't be taken. It spills to the back. And I think that's Zach Jackson. He's kicked it. He read that one well. And it's the third goal for Mount Barker. And the second goal for Zach Jackson.
That's right. Jackson, bit big, too strong there, and read the play well. Finished off.
Certainly did. You could see he knows how to read the footy as it was coming in. I think that's his. Is that his second goal or his first? Have I got that wrong?
We're not sure who kicked the first one, to be honest.
Okay, there you go. It's all been a bit chaotic in the moving of the camera and all sorts. I think we have missed that first goal, but anyway, a good goal kick by Zach Jackson, and that restores I think it's an 8-point lead there to the Bulls. Late in this first quarter, as the umpire throws the ball up again, Rucks go at it again. It's sharked by. I think that's patching again. He sends it forward. Another good kick. So he's starting to find his feet there, and it's Dylan Gowdy who takes the mark, and he chips inside the pocket to find Jackson again. He seems to be the man they want to play through. He's not going to shoot this time. He centers the footy. There's a player at the back, and a good mark taken by McMahon. So it was McMahon to Jackson earlier, and this time it's Jackson to McMahon. And now the Bulls are sort of lining up and rolling, and they're shooting at their fourth goal here. I have a feeling, I don't want to say, it might be 2-2 if he kicks this for McMahon, because we know he's kicked one. He shoots at goal now, and he does. He kicks truly. He loves it. Not many people to give him a high five as they come in now. He finally finds a mate, but that's the fourth goal for Mount Barker, who have kicked a couple of quick ones.
Bit of class from McMahon and Patching, starting to make a little bit of difference on the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, he's certainly one we noticed getting busy in the centre of the ground there is Dan Patching. And I believe he has had a good start to the season. I'm trying to get some inside information as I go, Ian, but it certainly had a good start to this game.
Yeah, he's a pay player, so he's earning his keep.
There you go. We're back in the middle, and the umpire throws it aloft. The Denmark player opts not to go up, and he then stays down and wins the clearance. So perhaps a good decision. They go forward to Denmark. Can they get this one and sneak it forward? A good little pick up there. Oh, slipping on the cricket pitch. Oh, not where you want to be. They try and maintain possession, although a good tackle by the Mount Barker player. Oh, it's telling in there, although they will win it now, and they'll go forward. This one will sneak over the back as well, so there's another chance over the back. Oh, good attempted shepherd by the Maggies, but he just couldn't quite take out this opposition player, and it's going to be a boundary throw-in about 15 metres around from the Denmark goal. You love to see that. They saw an opportunity around the back, and I think the young player thought, if I can shepherd him out, we might be a shot at a goal here, but he couldn't quite keep him out. As Mount Barker send it down and out, and they will exit outside the forward 50, and a good mark taken out on the wing. I reckon that's probably McMahon again, who sees players in the middle of the ground. That's a great kick, and the mark's taken by his teammate in Mitch Jackson. So we've got a couple of Jacksons, do we? And I think, is this a 50-metre penalty? It is. That's an encroachment on the mark, and Mitch Jackson, who I think is the captain today.
He's the captain today, and look, he's going to be in range here. He'll be going back to line up for their fifth goal.
Yeah, certainly will be in range. The umpires marched him to about 40 metres out. He is directly in front as well. So Mitch Jackson going for Mount Barker's third goal on the bounce. And the good start that the Magpies had, I think his kick truly has sort of been erased. He does. He kicks Mount Barker's fifth goal of the day, and that lead now out to... Look, I mean, maybe up until about 5 minutes ago, this lead certainly didn't reflect the order of the first quarter. But it definitely has been Mount Barker in the last sort of 5 minutes or so, and they've slammed on 3 in quick time.
I think also they're getting used to the breeze, the cross breeze. Jackson used that beautifully to bring it back for a nice, classy goal.
It's such a harsh penalty for sometimes those little misdemeanors, isn't it? But that is the rule, and I think being right next door to the timekeeper's box, I think we heard that in ahead of time. That is quarter time here in Denmark. Round 3 of the Great Southern Football League. It is Denmark 2-1-13, trailing Mount Barker 5-3-33 by an even 20 points. And as we said right up until about 5 minutes ago, what a performance we were seeing from Denmark. Who, look, like you said, they've been fairly belted in round 1 and 2, and to start like that was just brilliant. But unfortunately, those last 5 minutes, I think Mount Barker and the class that they have sort of came to the fore.
As soon as Godfrey got taken off, it appeared, so I'd be getting him back on to start this quarter.
Get Godfrey back on, says General Operations Manager Ian Beck. Like I said, out here at Denmark, it is 2-1-13. The Magpies, they trail the Bulls 5-3-33 by 20 points. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back for second quarter action.
Sounds good.
Is that what he said?
Tell me now.
Is it live scores on? Have you got live?
Yeah, I'm like, that's this app.
Oh, you got live scores from the other ground.
Oh, no.
Is there live scores? Is someone doing the live scores from the other ground?
Each quarter it should be updated.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
You can get the live stream and watch it, man.
No, I just mean so like while we're covering this one, we can give scores from the 2 other games.
Yeah, but if you wanted to look through, like, also want to know if there's lag. If you at any point.
There's only Royal Road.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there's games. There's always a game on Sunday. We can chat about the women's last night as well.
Oh yeah, the final. Yeah, I actually worked.
Where's that being held again?
The grand final.
Yeah.
Next Friday.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're doing
Which
that.
stadium again?
Oh, at Retrovision Stadium.
Sweet. Same spot? Same spot as last time?
You can't really do it inside, can you? Because of the...
Can't inside. The only other place would be the next area over on the cover.
Yeah.
We'll just get there a bit earlier.
Yeah.
And try to walk through that. Because those... They're stuff there. This is kind of perfect.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Yes.
How good is this?
Yeah. If you could run the mic to next door, then it would just be
Yeah.
the creme de la creme. But yeah.
Are the games supposed to be? I'm in the members area. Where do I get those scores?
I'll go to Play HQ, you know.
Okay.
Godfrey, yeah. Godfrey is not starting.
Damn it.
When he ran to the bench, he was not surprised. I don't think he had much left to give. Alright, hot new shit back there.
Oh yeah, boys, just remember once the mic's still on until I unplug it.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
No, I've unplugged the whole time.
Oh, okay.
So you missed those bits like we're probably about halfway through. But yeah. Just letting you know.
So we are at... Can I move those over? Yeah. Make use of that space. I put those two in the middle of us. And then...
Welcome back. Great Southern Football League Round 3 action from McLean Oval here in Denmark. It is Denmark trailing the Mount Barker Bulls. I'm not sure what's going on with that scoreboard. Is that 5-4-43? That doesn't work. Shouldn't it be 5-4-34?
And 2 goals something, 11? No.
Okay, we'll get back to you with the scoreboard shortly, but the umpire does get us underway, and it's Patching who wins the footy out of the middle, and also busy early on is Reece Hogg. He's sort of scrambles it forward for Mount Barker, but a really good rundown tackle.
Mastelurz.
Yeah, Mastelurz.
In a bit of form, actually, Marlon.
Fantastic. Another one of these young Denmark players with a really good rundown tackle. He sends it long to the wing, but it is all Mount Barker out there and a good intercepting mark taken. So, not sure what's going on with that scoreboard. 5-4-34 I thought it was. To, was it 2-2-14? I think it's an even 20-point margin. But that's... we'll get to that shortly, as I think it was McMahon trying to flare a handball wide, but it does run out of bounds, just under that scoreboard. They're probably not listening to the live stream, but if you are, that doesn't add up. Sending the message out early in this second quarter. We can tell you it is Mount Barker who are leading after a really good 5-minute patch just at the end of that first quarter, but the Maggies sort of hung tough all through that first one as they go forward, and that player there keeps it in front of him, follows up well, but well won by Mount Barker, and they've got a player free out on the wing. I think that's Hogg again. He sends a short kick, looking for Patching. He can't take the mark, and a good spoil from the Denmark player, and I think they've enacted at least a stoppage. Umpire says holding the ball. They did well to hold it up. They did very well to hold it up, but Campbell McMahon with the tackle there sends it outside. Just at the top of the forward 50, although the Magpies pick it up, and they're running in numbers. Nice little link passage of play there, and they've got a free man outside. Not the best kick, and it's just landed out of bounds on the full, about 70 metres around from the Mount Barker behind post, as the kick's taken, and it's a short kick to find Patching again. I think it was Simmons who took the free kick, sent it to Patching, who goes inside forward 50. Mark can't be taken. Denmark pick up the footy and they win it, and there is a player out wide. Oh, really good intercepting spoil there. Oh, I think that was Jacob Jones for Mount Barker. He's caused the neutral ball. It's now socket inside forward 50. McMahon can't pick it up. Players pile in now. Umpire's picked a free kick. He's saying it's going the way of Denmark, and they can relieve this forward press. Oh, that's a dodgy kick, and he's kicked it straight down the throat of Dan Patching, who has been absolutely everywhere early in this game. His teammates are finding him, and now even the opposition's finding him. He's going to take this shot at goal. It looks to me like he'll kick from about 48 or 49 metres on about a 45-degree angle, probably a little bit better than that, and shooting at Mount Barker's 6th. He sends the kick on its way. It looks pretty good. As soon as he hit that one off the boot, the goal umpire didn't have to do any work at all. And Dan Patching kicks the 6th goal for Mount Barker. And that is their 4th in a row after, it was a nice tight tussle there in the first quarter. But they have now kicked 4 in a row either side of the quarter time break. Now, 6-4-49. That doesn't quite work out. So, I think the 6 goals is correct. And if they've kicked 6 behinds, it's 6-4-40 plays. Oh, there we go. We've got I like that. We've got the score on your graphic, as you can see if you are listening at home. So what have we got? 13-39. Is that correct? 6-4-40 to 2-1-13. 6-4-40 to 2-1-13 is the score. I think we've had that confirmed as Mount Barker shark it out of the middle. Denmark player can't quite get a kick away. Umpire says it is illegal disposal. So a pretty good tackle there as Mount Barker win the footy. They send it out wide. and the mark taken right in front of his face.
Captain Jackson.
Here he is, Captain Jackson again. He sends the ball inside forward 50. I think he kicks to his namesake. Can't take the mark, and it's Denmark who pick up the footy. Good tackle there, although Denmark have the numbers, and I think they can exit. Oh, they can't. Really good pressure applied, and a good smother. That's Kirkwood again. He's been quite lively early on. He dives on the footy, but the umpire says no prior opportunity. Give it to me, I'll throw it up. We're about 50 metres out from the the Mount Barker goal. This is where the ball has been living sort of in the past 10 minutes of this game.
Godfrey about to re-enter the fray.
I think this is Ian Beck's favourite player. I think it's his new favourite player. Godfrey's waiting to come on. He did, of course, kick Denmark's second goal. It's the Bulls who win it. This is Patching again. He's got the footy at the top of the 50-metre arc. He fends off a player. He sends a ball long, but it is a little left. And it's a behind to the Bulls, who move to 6-5, 41. They lead the Maggies 2-1-13, and they try and bring it in quickly. Although it's a 2-on-2 out there, Mount Barker players fall to the ground. It's picked up by Denmark, who fling a handball forward. Not sure that was the best option, although reinforcements kind of arriving. They pick it up now. Oh, really good rundown tackle. A great rundown tackle. That's McMahon again. He's been super lively early in this one. The Denmark player thought he was off to the races, but McMahon had other ideas, and he wins the footy back for Barker. He stops, props, sends a short kick. That's a good way to retain the footy, although his teammate drops the chest mark. There are enough of them, and it's McMahon who follows up. He's tackled by about 3 Denmark players, and they get their revenge and turn the footy over, and the free kick will eventually be taken by, I think that's Marlon Mulster. How do you say that surname? Mastelers. Apologies, I am still getting used to all these great Southern footballers.
We'll call him Marlon.
That works for me.
The big fish.
Although, yeah, look, if you're ever known by your first name, you must be doing something right.
Well,
So
it was Clive. Waterhouse. Yeah.
exactly right. Dusty.
Yeah.
There's a few I can think of.
Carlton. Godfrey.
There you go. It's Mount Barker who have the footy in the centre of the ground. Spots a teammate on. That's a pretty good switch, although his teammate drops the mark. Couldn't quite hold it. Was Jacob Jones. He's got a problem now, although reinforcements do arrive. Running in is, I think that's Pavlovich to try and help his teammate out, and they can cause a stoppage. A little bit of a risky kick, although it probably should have been taken, and it would have been a good switch, but not to be, as the umpire balls it up. We're basically in the centre of the ground, as neither ruckman can get a decisive tap away. It falls at their feet. The umpire's sort of letting this go a lot longer than we're used to early on in this game. We've played about 7 or 8 minutes in this second quarter, and it is the Bulls who lead it by, I think that's 28 points, as a rare foray forward for Denmark. Almost taking the mark was the Denmark forward, but they pick it up at ground level. Evades a couple of players. There's the snap on goal. It goes across the face. Really good little passage of play by Denmark. He showed a fleet foot to evade a few tacklers and snap on goal. Unfortunately, only a minor score, but nice positive signs in this second quarter as the Mount Barker player plays on from fullback. Oh, he's run a long way. He does kick now, and it's gone over the head of 2 players, and on the end of it is McMahon. Once again, been very lively. Getting a lot of confidence from that mark. Last week, he kicks to his mate Patching. I think those are the 2 picks of the day so far, as Patching sends it forward, looking for Jackson, who sticks a hand out. He can't quite pick up the footy. He goes into tackle, but it's Denmark who have won it, and they'll work it out by hand. A snap around the corner from the Denmark player sends it 30 metres further forward. I think that's the big ruckman for Barker. He picks it up and repels. It's the captain, sends it forward to Jackson again. Can't mark it, although it's picked up at the back by the Barker player. Now by a Denmark player. Goes again and wins the handball. So a good little repel, and that's a nice little kick. They can control the footy. It's Josh Thompson who has it at half back, and he flares it wide. Oh, over the head. He's missed his target in Marlon, in Mastelers. I've got to get used to saying that. He's been busy early. Mount Barker player wants a free kick, and I think the umpire said, no, I won't have any of that. That's just, was that a free kick for dissent? I think it may have been. I think it is. I think it was a free kick for dissent, and now a 50-metre penalty for dissent. To be honest, I think all players should know better than that. And Ian, as the general ops manager of the Great Southern Footy League, you probably support that 50-metre penalty.
Yeah, we won't stand for any dissent, and it'll get punished accordingly.
Absolutely, and And Denmark have done well here. They've got the footy on top of the forward 50. Mark going forward is taken at full stretch. To be honest, yeah, it's Morrison Carter who's taken the mark. And it was a pretty good kick forward. It needed a lot of courage from Morrison Carter.
Barry Roberts delivering to Morrison Carter. Roberts getting plenty of the ball and good user.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is Jet Morrison Carter to take this shot at goal. It's his first senior year of footy. He did play 7 games last year in the Great Southern Footy League. So one of those young players who's obviously able to follow up. He sends this one long. Oh no, his teammate on the goal line's rushed it.
It looked a goal from here. From 80 metres, it looked like a clear goal.
It absolutely did. And at the last line of defence, I think his teammates tried to take a mark and it's come off his fingertips. It's a rush it's a behind only. But they've got the last 2 scoring shots of the game, Denmark. So a nice little patch for them in this second quarter as McMahon's taken the mark from the kick in and he sends the ball into that back pocket. It's Kobe Williams who has the footy and he's going to go backwards again. I think mark taken there by William Jones and they send it all the way across the other side of the ground. This is Pavlovich, the captain. So they're controlling the footy at the moment. He goes for an aggressive kick and a really good kick to his teammate in Wallinger who plays on quickly. They've got a teammate out on the wing who was free, but the kick just misses him. Denmark gather the footy. They're outnumbered out in that wing, and I think it's no free kick, but it is a turnover. And they send the footy into the middle of the ground. Mark taken by Walsh, shares it by hand with a teammate. Here's the ruckman. I think that's Jackson again, who's getting involved. They just need to find a target here now, and they do. That's a good kick and a mark taken by Large. They share it by hand. And forward they go. Mount Barker, here's patching. He can't pick up the footy, overruns it a little bit. Slapped backwards by the Denmark players, just trying to get it out of there. Although Mount Barker collect again. Here's Seth Jones on the outer wing. He's got a lot of time to assess his options. What's he going to do with it? There is a short target, but he opts to go a lot longer. Mark can't be taken. Falls to the hands of Kirkwood, but he's taken immediately in a tackle and will have a ball up. About 30 metres out from the Denmark, the Mount Barker goal. They swap goals at quarter time, don't they? As ruckmen go up, it's Denmark who can clear, and a good diving mark there taken.
The big fish.
Here he is Masteler's the big fish marlin. I don't mind that from you, Ian, who uses the ball really well, and he finds a teammate about 20 metres further ahead.
Godfrey finding some space on the wing, not being used, unfortunately, for the twitch.
Here's your man Godfrey just having a look out wide. He's on the opposite flank, so he's not going to be getting involved in this passage of play. It's Mount Barker who go forward again. That's a long kick. There is an outnumber here. Oh, although the bounce of the ball didn't help Denmark, and now Mount Barker a real chance as they scrubber a shot towards goal. I think that may have bounced through. It's been scrubbed forward. Is it off the boot of a Mount Barker player? There's a bit of a conversation going on between umpires, and it is a goal.
Penny went down to actually pick the ball up and kicked it and it went through. So.
He's accidentally scrubbed a kick through. Who was that goal kicker?
Nigel Penny.
Nigel Penny. He didn't quite see who kicked it. So Nigel Penny's got the 7th for Mount Barker, and that is 5 in a row for the Bulls, who either side of the quarter time break are making good inroads.
Bit of breeze there, sprung up for a little while during that quarter, and Barker taking advantage as it goes towards the town end.
As the ball's back in the middle. Country footy at its best. I think we're getting a bit of harassment from the locals. No clear takeaway from the Rucks, although a free kick has been picked out. It'll go the way of Denmark, who have a player. Oh, I thought he was free. He was covered pretty well. Was Mastelers out here on the wing, so they have to go further afield. Ball bounces in front of 2 players, and the Mount Barker player sees it out. I think Denmark wanted a free kick for insufficient intent, but that was drawing a long bow. It'll be a throw-in just between the 2 interchange benches here. About halfway through the second quarter, boundary umpire flings it over his head. I think we'll have that one thrown in again. Have another go at it.
Godfrey free.
Godfrey is free, just
He gets
waiting.
a lot of space. I like it.
Yeah, why don't they go near him? He's a goal kicker today. He needs to kick another. Mount Barker, that was delightful off the ruck tap. They worked that really well. Although the forward kick is picked off by Roberts. Who here's your man, Godfrey. He's dropped the ball, Godfrey, but he's got time. A little hand pass over the back of the head. No wonder you like him, Becky. He looks bloody great as they send it forward. Oh, big tackle there on the Mount Barker player with a lot of aggression.
That just brought back memories of the Pendlebury to Dacos flip over the back there.
It's
Class from Godfrey.
Certainly did. Bradley Cochrane with a really aggressive tackle there, showing a lot of aggression. Here he is. He's getting himself involved. How's the sidestep on Godfrey, who sends it into the forward pocket? And I tell you what, I thought that ball was going to go out. It would have actually been a good result for Denmark, but it doesn't, and Barker can take it away. Although the bounce of the footy wasn't ideal for Mount Barker, who now have a bit of a problem. And it's going to be a throw in.
Unfortunate there. Denmark had numbers, outnumbered 4-2, and went out of bounds, unfortunately.
Yeah, and a throw in about 10 metres around. The boundary umpire gives himself a bit of time to. Yeah, Ian Beck here pointing out that Godfrey has found a bit of space. He's manned up now, but the flying shot at goal from Denmark has gone across the face, and I think the Denmark player on the mark there, I think that's Morrison Carter was saying it was touched, but the umpire wouldn't have a bar of that. It's landed out of bounds on the full, and it'll be brought back in by Mount Barker, who that player looks to go straight down the guts. He does, and it's Ben Kirkwood who makes that kick look really, really good. Well, it was a good kick and a good mark taken, and he shares it with his teammate out on the far wing. That's Dylan Gowdy, who plays on. There's players on in the middle. There is a bit of an outnumber. It goes over their heads. It's the Denmark players rush in to try and get that. It is Kirkwood again, who shares a little backhand pass. Bit of time out there as Gowdy again sends a long high ball forward. McMahon sort of runs under the ball. He needed someone's shoulders to jump on again, I think. That one was too easy for him, and it's Denmark who can gather the footy. And they've now got the ball in the centre of the park. So a couple of good little foot skill executions here, and they go inside the middle of the ground again. Yeah, mark taken by, I think it's Thompson, that one. And here's your man, Becky. Yeah, he's got it again out wide. This is Godfrey.
Good use of the ball.
Yeah, and that is a good... Oh, really good spoil. Really good defensive spoil coming across from Wallinger to fist the ball out of bounds about 50 metres around, probably on the junction where the boundary line meets the 50-metre arc. We'll have a throw-in. This one's a better one from the boundary umpire. Flings it in. Ball hit by the Denmark ruckman their way, but to no clear advantage. The footy's at the top of the 50-metre arc. Picked up by Denmark, although there is a bit of a goalkeeper in the goal square, and that is, I think that's Pavlovich, who takes the saving mark for Mount Barker. He wanted to play on, but I think he's been called back. We might have a blood rule here. Yep, we do. We have a blood rule. So the Mount Barker player coming off. And probably not the best news for Denmark, because Daniel Patching comes straight back on, refreshed and ready to win a ton of footy, no doubt, as he's already been doing. And it's Pavlovich who plays on after that short break in play. He finds a teammate on that far wing. And we've seen him a couple of times out on that far side of the ground. Seth Jones takes the mark. Looks to go inside. Thinks better of it, then sells some candy and goes around a player and sends an absolutely torrid kick forward, but this might work out for Mount Barker. Standing up in the tackle was Gowdy, and now they win it forward. Here is Patching, who's found his way from the interchange all the way to the far side of the ground. He assesses his options, shares it inboard. That was a pretty good handball. They have a shot on goal here, Mount Barker, and I think he's missed to the right-hand side. So just a minor score, but a nice bit of build-up play for the Bulls, who move to 47. They lead this one by 32 points over Denmark, who, look, to be honest, Ian, I reckon the last sort of 7 or 8 minutes are holding strong.
That's right. McMahon, who played a really good first quarter, Barry Roberts went on to him and sort of nullified him and used the ball well, and McMahon actually come and had a spell on the bench. So, well, good play from Roberts.
Yeah, and it is about those little wins as we spoke about. And a nice little patch of play here. As a good mark's taken, they share it out wide. And they do go forward, although I'm not sure that's the best kick. Oh, your man Godfrey. He's popped his hands up and almost caused the spoil.
No. He held it up beautifully.
I thought he did. I thought he held it up nicely, but perhaps he did fall on the footy, and it's Mount Barker who win the free kick.
No sense of theatre from the umpire there at all.
I like how excited you're getting about Godfrey there, Ian. It's a 3-on-1 out here, although running in to make it a 3-on-3 now. Oh, how's that hairstyle? Interesting. Sling tackle almost on that Mount Barker player. But he scrambles a kick forward and they retain the footy. Taking the mark is Skinner. He sends it forward. Only about probably 15 metres, maybe the bare 15. But still a good kick, and the mark's taken by David Stone, who is, I think, a co-captain of this team.
Co-captain, yeah. And fair chance from here, I think.
Okay, there you go. You heard it first. Tall forward is David Stone, as he sends this one on its way from about 45 metres, and he's hooked it. And it's only a minor score. I'm not sure if you picked that up in the effects, Mike, but the call of Hungary.
From the Denmark dugout, I love it.
From the Denmark dugout. It's all about the little wins.
Godfrey, he's near the Denmark dugout.
Maybe. It's all about the little wins, isn't it? As Denmark win the footy, and they've worked it well. And they've got it at the top of the 50. This is Roberts, who sends the footy out wide in front of a teammate who is able to pick it up now. I think that's rolling out there, and he sends the ball inside forward 50, but can't get past the Bulls. And a defensive relieving mark taken. This one's sent wide to Watkin, who can now send it out to your man Godfrey, who, to be honest, had absolutely no eyes for the footy. Saw his teammate coming. He wonders what the free kick's for. I think we know.
I didn't think he could do much else. The goal was running straight to him. So,
well, you can't block out of the marking contest. It will be a free kick to the Bulls. That's a really good kick inside the middle of the ground. This is Jackson, the captain, the other co-captain, and he sends it all the way out to that other far wing. I think that's Hogg, the bearded Hogg. I hope I've got that right. Is that Hogg?
yes.
Yeah, fantastic. And they win the footy. They move it further inside forward 50. Umpire says play on. Thought that tackle was quite effective. A snap on goal from about 45 metres out has gone through. What a fantastic snap on goal, Dylan Gowdy, who gets to his feet and says, did that go through? Wow.
Yeah, I think
pretty good kick.
Gowdy kicked 3 in the opening round. I think with Jackson coming back, he's moved further up the ground. So when he gets a chance, he likes a shot on goal, does Dylan?
That's an almighty snap from there, and a really good finish. And Mount Barker have their 8th, and it is 6 in a row, unfortunately. So they sort of wrestled back a little bit of momentum, Denmark, in the midway part of this second quarter, but the Bulls hit their 6th in a row, 6th on the bounce, pardon me, and they lead this one 54-15. I think scoreboard has 54-14. I think the scoreboard is wrong. It's the Bulls who win this one out of the middle. Here is Hogg again. He shares it back with, is that Jackson? I think it's Jackson, and here's that man Gowdy again, although this one not 15. Hand pass back to Jackson, and he breaks one tackle, breaks a second, gets a hand pass out to Gowdy, who kicks short and finds Hogg. And
Descent again, I believe.
I think it is another free kick for Descent. So before Hogg took that mark, we heard a whistle. So it was going to be a Barker free kick regardless, and the umpire ran in, and I think there was further remonstration. And instead of kicking from 45 metres out on a pretty tough angle, Hogg's been marched to the goal square. And as you'd expect, Reece Hogg's popped through, I think might be his second goal perhaps, and Mount Barker's 9th. So they lead this one 60-15. Now it's out to 45 points.
Yeah, Jackson tried to break 2 tackles, and the Denmark player right next to the umpire was not happy, and that's what happens, Descent.
He certainly wasn't happy about it, although, look, neither tackle was completed, and Jackson was able to win, shoot a hand pass out. So a bit of ill discipline from Denmark. You can understand it gets frustrating, but lessons to be learned as we're back in the middle, and it's the captain Jackson who sort of wins the tap over the back of his head, but to no decisive advantage, and a soccer forward from Denmark who are outnumbered 2-on-1 on this flank, although reinforcements arrive. A really good tackle there, and they've turned the footy over. So great play from Denmark as they go inside forward 50. Can't find a target. It does look like the Bulls will clear up, although good pressure sliding in there. I thought giving away a free kick for below the knees was the Magpie player, but it's play on. There's a scramble for the footy. It is a nice tackle. They get a shot on goal now, and I think, I thought it might have bounced out of bounds, but it has gone a little too far. The accidental torpedo scrambled forward by your man Marlon Masteles. Oh no, it has. I think it's bounced. Now, is this a free kick or a throw-in? There is a Mount Barker player on the mark, so I think it will be out in the full. And Mount Barker, Now, hang on. What is happening here?
I thought it was out on the full from Denmark. So, unless there's more dissent.
That's honestly the only
The
thing
only-
I can think, because it was, I think it was almost certainly a Denmark player that sent this one out in the full. But alas, it's Denmark who will take the free kick in the forward pocket. So, look, manned up pretty well. It probably has to be a shot on goal as the snap goes. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a great kick from the pocket. That's a fantastic goal from that Denmark player who won't quite turn his back to us, so we can't see his name. Who's that? Do you know that one, Ian? Nope.
No.
We'll wait for him to turn his body to us so we can see his number.
Certainly use the home ground advantage there. Yeah, that's what when you finish training, you have those shots, you have 50 shots before you, and it paid off for him well.
Absolutely. Now the reward is, I think he's been thrown into the ruck. Number 37. Thank you for turning your back there. Simon Barker. What a fantastic kick from the pocket. He's not in the ruck, but he is into the middle. And a really good goal for the Magpies, who certainly needed it. They trail this one 3-3-21 to, I think it's 9-5, must be 10-4? I'm not sure. We'll sort out those scoreboard issues. This is Zach Jackson who sends the footy forward. It's gone over everybody's head. And that is half-time here at McLean Park, which at the end of the second quarter, a quarter which certainly belonged to Mount Barker, but a nice late goal there to Simon Barker to kind of stem the flow a little bit. But at halftime, the score is 21-60, so it's a 39-point lead to the Bulls here at halftime at McLean Park. On a pretty reasonable day for footy. Look, it is a bit chilly, as you'd expect in the Great Southern, but the rain stayed away for now, and I dare say, look, probably a better showing for Denmark. They won't be too unhappy with the halftime score.
Yeah, nice touch from Barker at the end there to finish. It was a good finish. Former captain and I believe a Kleeman medalist, maybe a good 10, 12 years ago, so certainly a veteran is Barker.
Well, there you go.
Around.
10 to 12 years ago. Look, we do try and, before we go to a quick break, we do try and have a chat about some of the players that have stood out for us, Ian, and look, certainly in my mind, Daniel Patching has been around, shared the ball a lot with Zach Jackson, as well as Campbell McMahon. They're probably the three that sort of stand out in my mind.
And son of Rodney, the bearded hog, he's getting plenty of it, and Dylan Gowdy as well, up forward, quite a target.
Yep, for sure. And I think there's there's something in that. If you want to be recognised, maybe grow a long beard, because they certainly stand out in your mind.
And for Denmark, it's got to be the big fish and Carlton Godfrey up forward.
Your man Godfrey. You're right, we have called Marlon Mastaler's name a fair few times as well. And Morrison Carter's been around a bit as well. And look, like we've spoken about, it's probably just the little wins for Denmark early on this season. They've had a hard time early, so if some of these young players can get their hands on the ball and keep showing improvement, it's probably a win.
And Barry Roberts as well, off half back. Good use of the ball. Famous footy family down here, the Roberts family.
Okay. Yeah. See, this is the knowledge I need you to bring in. Being new to the region, it's nice to be given that sort of intel. We will take a break here at McLean Park. It is half time. It's Denmark 21 trailing the Mount Barker Bulls 60 by 39 points. We'll be back with you for third quarter action here on round 3 in the Great Southern Football League. Be back shortly.
Yep, you're off. Sweet.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, now, I've just seen here, Carlton Godfrey's a 4-player points value, which means he's probably form of offer to be a 4. So he can play.
Yeah, right. All right, I got to write down. We've got to get these sponsors a plug. Real painful.
Oh, yeah, so I was going to last week we had Retrovision Mark of the Day. I had Nick Ashford and Payne Kinney, and goal of the day was Ryan Kinnear.
Yep.
Probably so far, goal of the day is probably Dylan Gowdy's snap.
Yeah. Yep. So, who is it? The Point Insurance. What is it again?
So Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers and Point Insurance. Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers and Point Insurance. Wellington and Reeves last week's mark of the day. What's
Yep.
the mark of the day then so far?
Probably on that one.
Go Godfrey. When he down.
Did you take him out? I think he just stood over the back, didn't it?
And then we can mention the women's and also that we'll be live streaming next Friday.
Yeah, nice. I won't be able to call it.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, Oh, yeah, shit. So I was gonna, I wanted to tell you before. But I'm actually back up to Perth.
When?
In 2 weeks. So I can call next week.
Right.
But yeah, so we've look, we've had a pretty hard time. We were never able to find a house.
Yeah.
The rental situation's dire. But yeah, look, the job that they would see is probably not what I not wanted or needed it to be, but just not enjoying it the way I needed to. And then look, didn't want to stay in a job, you know. And I'm going to actually sort of pursue this. So I'm going to try and do a bit of calling.
Okay.
Taking Perth.
Yeah. Right. Damn.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I mean, because I've actually enjoyed doing this.
Yeah.
But look, it's mainly work.
Yeah.
So moving back and So I'll.
So you can't do next Friday with the women?
No, I can't. I've got a function at work.
Right.
So we don't get off air until 6:30 anyway.
Yeah.
So I can't get away till 6:45.
Yeah.
Absolute earliest.
Yeah.
And then my boss has said, we've organised a few people to see you off. So I can do the men's on Saturday. I just can't afford to go to call the women's on Friday.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you still set up the live stream and maybe have it. You could do comments or something if you didn't want to do play by play. But
Yeah, I'll see if the advertising boys can make that.
because they said I don't know more. I would about that. But I've tried to speak to John.
Yeah.
A couple of times this week. We keep missing each other. So,
Right. So he's down Friday.
Okay, cool. I didn't even know when he's coming down, so I'll have to tell John. But I wanted to let you know. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I might chuck an advertisement up.
Yeah.
Because I was going to sort of start stepping up. Well, I've got. See, I had a footy game today.
Oh, what you're supposed to be playing?
Like a Masters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're playing Busselton at home.
Yeah, cool. Who's that? What club's that?
The Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Albany Vikings?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit.
Coffee.
No worries, man.
Good.
Was he? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's
Go live?
Yeah, let's go live now because we've got a little bit that we want to do. So we'll do that stuff. You only get that score up where it says the goals and behinds as well.
Yep. When I start it.
Yeah, cool. There.
And you are live.
Welcome back to McLean Park, round 3 of the Great Southern Football League. This is the Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers and Point Insurance match of the day. My name's Mark Foreman to call you through the action. I'm here with the Operations Manager of the Great Southern Football League, Ian Beck. Lovely to have your company today. We are up and streaming for the first time live this year, Ian. That's exciting.
It is exciting, yeah. After I promised the Earth, yeah, we got to round 3, but all good, all good.
We've made it, and we will be live each week this year, I believe, which is fantastic. We've got Ollie filming. He's an absolute genius at it as well. The score here at McLean Park, it's the Bulls 9-6-60 leading the Magpies in Denmark 3-3-21 by 39 points. The tale of the game, probably, it was a really strong start from Denmark. They certainly got to be proud of that. And then they sort of fell away a little bit in the back half of that second quarter and the back half of the first quarter and early second, which is where Mount Barker sort of took hold.
Yeah, I spoke to a couple of the Denmark stalwarts out there. They said there's about 7 Colts age players out there, and they're getting exposed to footy. They're playing well, like we said. That's been very competitive. So, you know, good signs as they get games under their belt. Absolutely.
And before we turn our heads to other matters, we'll go to Albany very quickly to let you know that it's not been a good day so far for Royals, who obviously had the draw against one of our teams of the day that you can see on camera there in Mount Barker in round 1. But the Royals are trailing by 40 points at half time to Railways, and it was a scoreless first quarter as well for Royals. So as we alluded to in the call last week, Ian, I actually live with one of the Royals players, so I suspect I might make myself scarce tonight.
Well, better news last night for the women's, though, as they went through the home and away season undefeated. I spoke with their coach, and I had goal kicker Gracie Gibson in on my radio station for the sports show, and they were very nervous because they won 10 in a row and there was no double chance, but they won 26-17, so a close game against Denmark, and they're through to the grand final, and they'll play Albany next Friday at Retrovision Stadium.
Fantastic. And that game also being streamed, I believe?
Yes, and commentated. Possibly.
Yeah, well, I know. Sadly, unfortunately, I can't be there next Friday night, but we will have match of the day for you on Saturday as well, back in the GSFL for the men. But awesome to be able to bring you the stream at the very least of the women's grand final.
And just going to say, contender for the Wellington Reeves goal, the Dylan Gowdy with a big snap in that second term. We in close competition with Ryan Kinnear's snap last week.
Yeah, one of a couple, I think, from Ryan Kinnear. So, as you mentioned, Wellington and Reeves sponsoring the goal of the day and therefore the goal of the year, and Retrovision Albany sponsoring the mark of the day and obviously mark of the year this year, which is fantastic. But we are ready to get underway here in the third quarter at McLean Park. It is the Bulls with a 39-point advantage, but Denmark, they'll look to hold strong. They win the first centre clearance, although it doesn't go all that far. Picked up by the goalkeeper, I think that was Barker. Sorry, the goal kicker in Barker, who can't quite get clean possession, and it's Mount Barker who will win this footy. It heads towards the boundary line and it beats a host of players, including Daniel Patching, who was certainly our pick of the players in the first half, and we'll have a boundary throw in just under our noses here on the broadcast wing.
The Roberts-McMahon matchup continues, and very it's a good competition to watch.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, you know, Barry Roberts really effective there across half back, very creative and certainly a good user of the footy. Sorry, as I arrange my sheets here in the commentary box. As the ball's thrown in, it's tapped forward by Barker, and it's Patching who's first onto it. He shares a long looping handball. This is in front of Jackson, who puts the kick out in front of his teammate. It falls short of him, and he can't quite grab it. Apologies, I can't quite see who that leading forward was. I think it was Stone, who now has the footy. He scrambles a kick forward. I think that's... it bounces past and picked up by McMahon, who snaps on goal. I think it's gone across the face. It's just a minus score. So the first score of the third quarter goes the way of Mount Barker. They're 9-7-61. They lead this one by 40 points against Denmark, who are 3-3-21, pardon me. And there's your man again. It's Barry Roberts who brings the footy in, and not surprisingly, he uses it well and hits Josh Thompson on the chest, who plays on from half back. He sends a kick into the middle of the ground. Yeah, there's our goal kicker, Simon Barker again, kicked a beautiful goal from the pocket, who actually, he may well put his name up for the Wellington and Reeves goal of the day. Ian, maybe we'll readdress that at three-quarter time.
The mentalist.
It's Mount Barker who go forward again. Thought hands maybe in the back from the Denmark player, but he says, get out of my way, and he does, they don't argue, but there's nobody out there for Denmark. Although reinforcements do arrive, and they sort of hold this ball up. It's McMahon for Barker, who picks up the footy and sends it forward. The umpire's picked out a free kick here.
More dissent. More dissent. And I spoke with the umpires at halftime, and they said there was a lot of chatter out there, and it's good they're cracking down on it, though.
Well, look, it is. I don't. Obviously, we don't know what was said, and we can't quite hear that. But it was an immediate free kick, an immediate 50-metre penalty for Denmark. So they're able to go forward. It's picked up by Mount Barker, though, and it's McMahon again with the footy. He shares a backhand pass to his captain. This is Jackson, who sends a squaring kick into the middle of the ground, and he hits in his teammate Lydiard, who then goes one further afield. This is William Jones who takes the mark, and they complete the switch. This is Lee Pavlovich, the vice-captain, who chips a ball slightly downfield, hits his teammate, and they go forward again. I think this is Jackson, who has the footy out wide. He played on, but there was, fortunately, a player over the top for him. He gets the footy back now, and they've got a little overlap number, and they work it really well, although with a really good tackle, Barry Roberts. He wrapped up the Mount Barker youngster. I think that was Ben Kirkwood, who's been certainly very active early. And Barry Roberts wins the footy for Denmark.
Jackson handballing like a Supercoach dream there, and looping it up so he can run past and get the receive.
Only option for his teammate was to, better get this back to you. As the ball trickles out of play. We're going to have a boundary throw in about 70 metres around from the Mount Barker goal. A really good tackle. There was just no way Ben Kirkwood was escaping Barry Roberts' grasp there. As the throw-in sort of falls short, it's Jackson to Jackson, and we've got a back feed handball now. This is Joel Gray, who will centre the footy. He sees a teammate. Look, risky kick, to be honest, but it was absolutely perfect. And on the lead is Campbell McMahon again. He sends the ball inside 50. He finds a teammate, but a really good defensive spoil from the Denmark player. And now the ball's on the ground, although Daniel Patching picks up the footy, curves it round, and he's kicked a goal. That's his second of the day, Daniel Patching. He's certainly showing his class and maybe putting his name forward for a Wellington and Reeves goal of the day contender.
That's a contender. That's a contender from Patching. Bit of class there. Classy finish.
I can tell Ian, who, look, as the operations manager, technically it's Ian who has the final say on these calls. He loves a snap. So if you're a great Southern footballer listening into the call every now and then, and you wanted to be nominated for the Wellington and Reeves goal of the day, I reckon your best bet is to snap it round the corner.
I did like Godfrey's run, though.
Unless your name's Godfrey. Yeah, unless your name's Carlton Godfrey, then I think you can kick it however you want, and Ian might nominate you. As we're back in the middle, the Rucks go at it. No clear tap, and it looks like it'll be Denmark who win the footy out of the centre. Although it's a bit scrappy in there. Patching goes in, overruns it. Now they get it, Denmark, and they do snap a kick forward. Playing in front there was the Barker player. Well done from Denmark, who was able to bring the ball to ground. And that player gets up, scrambles a kick forward. Has this got enough on it? And how does it bounce? It takes a leg break.
Bailey Bennett. Yeah, I thought there was a goal. So did half the Denmark bench. So they went up.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw in the coverage there. We had the hands go up on the Denmark bench in front of us, but unfortunately, it took a leg break and was only through for a minor score. As the Bulls bring the footy back in, that's a really good kick out, and he finds a teammate on the defensive 50, and now they've got an outnumber on the wing. And taking the footy in his stride, this is Pavlovich. Pardon me, no, I think it's Wallinger who had the footy. I think, yes, it was Wallinger, but he's turned it over. So back the other way comes Denmark. Now they've got an outnumber, and wouldn't you know it, Carlton Godfrey, turns on a dime, sends the ball inside forward 50, and that is an exquisite forward 50 entry. Carlton Godfrey certainly got the skills in this great Southern footy league to get Ian Beck excited, and he's found his teammate in Tarek Hartfield, I think, who will take the kick from the forward pocket.
Was unselfish from Godfrey there. I thought he could have run in, had a bounce and finished off himself.
Certainly was. And maybe he would have been better off doing it, because unfortunately it's just a minor score there from Tarek Hartfield. Good opportunity for Denmark going forward there. Look, to be honest, a really good kick from Godfrey. He did use the footy really well, and a nice little passage of play, but just a minor score. So score moves 3-4-22 Denmark. They trail the Bulls 10-8-68. As this one's going to come back. Mount Barker's kick out has been turned around. Ball's to the top of the goal square. Out the back is Godfrey. Can he pick up the footy? No. Really good desperate defence from the Mount Barker player there, who's able to slap it through. I think that was Wallinger again, who's saved a couple of goals this game. So not for the first time. He sends the kick out long and wide, and a little too wide. And it will be coming back again. So a nice little lock-in. What's happening here? The umpire's called it back. I think the wrong player's taken it. I think this one will be taken by Rowling.
JK.
JK Rowling. What's his first name? Daniel, unfortunately. So, not JK. But Rowling sends it inside the forward 50. Oh, it's got over the back, and it's a mark to Denmark. Luck's a fortune. Although sometimes you put yourself in the right place and you will end up with the rewards. And it's Bailey Bennett, who's had the footy fall onto his chest. So, for the second shot in about a minute for Denmark, it is Bailey Bennett, who will kick from around about 35 metres out, just left of centre. A much-needed goal from Denmark. He sends it on its way. That looks... Oh, it's faded to the left. I thought it was going to sneak in. We were sort of willing that one home, weren't we? But nevertheless, a good little passage of play for Denmark. They move to 3-5-23. They trail Mount Barker 10-8-68 by 45 points early in this third quarter.
Couple of young Denmark guys getting plenty of the ball. The big fish and Morrison Carter, the hyphen.
Absolutely. Marlon Mastelers. I'll get that right eventually. But it is Mount Barker. They're going forward for the first time in a few minutes. And this one's got over the back. I think this will be a goal to Mount Barker. Yep, running onto the ball, picking it up was Ben Kirkwood, who kicks. I think that might be his second today as well. Apologies if we might have missed one and given that to a teammate, but it is Kirkwood who's read the footy really well off hands there, and he's kicked a goal for Barker. So they move to, I think that's their 11th of the day, 11-8-74. They lead this one by 51 points over Denmark, 3-5-23.
Bit of a heartbreaker for Denmark that. They had a lot of the play for good 5 minutes, few opportunities to score, and then Barker get it down and score a goal in the open goal square.
How often do we see that in footy, where you sort of just control the footy, Becky, and you have a couple of opportunities, you don't take them, and then the ball goes straight down the other end, and a goal is scored, and that's exactly what's happened. But we're back in the middle. Umpire throws it up. Neither ruckman can get a clean tap, and they tap it around a little bit. It will be Barker who go forward. The ball's put out in front of McMahon. He can't quite gather it on the first chance. Oh, slips a tackle from Roberts and wins it back with a nice little handball. Here's Jackson. Zach Jackson runs away from a couple, sends a really good pass inside forward 50. That was a fantastic bit of play from Zach Jackson. You get, again, being new to the area, Ian, I get to sort of see some of these footballers, and I can see why he is a Kleeman medalist. He's hit Stone right on the chest, who will take the shot at goal from about 35 metres out. He wastes no time in doing so. Oh, he left it a little bit short, did he? And it has. It's been touched on the line. I mean, a really good stretch there from, I think, who's that player? I think it was Cody Kerr on the line. So a captain-saving goal. But probably should have done a bit better there. As the ball's brought in, they go from pocket. And now it's Roberts who has it just short of the defensive 50-metre line. He sends a kick further forward. Yep, as you'd expect, he uses the ball extremely well. He finds Lockie Hutchison. You can probably want to get the footy in the hands of Barry Roberts there, Ian. He's used it really, really well today. So that's smart. The ball's sort of scrumbling around, and Denmark send it forward by the soccer. The race is on. It's a one-on-one. A really good pickup. Now the snap around the body from about 30 metres. The arms are in the air. It's a great goal for Denmark. That's a fantastic finish. I think Bailey Bennett, he did so well to hold off his opponent. It was a one-on-one. He was agile enough to get rid of him, pick the ball up and snap from about 30 metres. And I'm going to call that, Ian. I'm absolutely going to call that. That's the Wellington and Reeves goal of the day so far.
And good play from Morrison Carter there. Intelligent play from a young player. Just booted it off the ground and well inside 50.
And sometimes that's all you need to do. Just take a bit of territory and look how it's worked out. It's gone very well for Denmark, who have added their fourth goal, 4-5-29. They trail the Bulls 11-9-75. We're about halfway through this first quarter. And if you are listening and you're interested in the Great Southern Footy League, of course, back in Albany, it's the Royals who are trailing by 40 points. That's the latest score we had at half-time. We'll try and bring you a little update to that as the game goes on. But it looks like it's Mount Barker who will win this clearance. It's Zach Jackson who's picked it up. He's found a hand pass to Patchling, who sends it goalwards from about 50 metres, and Dan Patchling has kicked his third goal of the game on the run. That was exquisite from the Bulls, Ian. They made that look very easy.
Well, I missed all of that, to be honest, as I'm searching up the scores.
Oh, I think you're trying to get the Royal score for me as well, are you?
Still at half-time.
Still the half-time score. We will bring you that one. But that was a brilliant goal from Dan Patchling. They worked that really well forward. Zach Jackson wasn't afraid to share it by hand that time, and found his teammate in Dan Patchling and kicked a goal.
And I have got an update on a change of outfit for tonight's awards.
The important things, Ian. The important things. We're back in the middle, and that... I think that 52-point lead is sort of restored there as the umpire throws the ball aloft. Neither ruckman can win a clean tap. It's Patchling who tries to win the footy. He's sort of moved off it a bit, but it will be Denmark who goes forward. It's Thompson who wins the footy. He finds rolling. And JK sends it inside 50. This one also sort of gets over the back. That's happened a couple of times. Arms out. Did he beat? Yeah, it's an illegal disposal. So really good forward pressure from Denmark, and
Bennett having a purple patch.
I think it is. It's Bennett who's won the footy again.
I'm marking it.
And Bailey Bennett will take the shot at goal. Look, he snapped one from 30 metres around the corner, so this one should be proportionately quite easy. He'll kick from 25 metres, about 45-degree angle. I think he loves it. He does. The double high five, and he's kicked another one. Bailey Bennett. Really well played, a really good forward 50 tackle, causes the illegal disposal, and he's kicked the resulting goal. So, once again, this has got a bit of the first quarter feel about it. They've been very competitive, Denmark, and not getting blown away.
Oh, no. It's, Denmark have certainly they've basically had all the play this quarter, and Barker have gone up twice and scored. So, if they can tidy that up, could be in for a close last quarter.
And I dare say that's probably all the coach would have asked for is, look, let's try and win some quarters of footy. And I think they're probably almost doing that this quarter, in fact, Denmark. So playing really well with a lot of young players in the team. As the ball's back in the middle, this one's sharked by Denmark. That's really well played, and it's the captain, Jackson, who sends it forward with a long, high ball. Running under it was the Denmark defender, off hands, picked up by Barker. And that one's come off the side of the boot, I think. And that's gone out of bounds on the full. Yep. Unless it was... No, it hasn't. It sneaked through for a behind. So just a minor score for Mount Barker. And in the defensive goal scorer, I think it'd be Cody Kerr to take kick-in duties once again. As he will look to sort of get Denmark as far out of this area as he can. And he does. He takes the territory on offer. Probably could have run a few more metres, to be honest, as he searches for a teammate on the wing. Come off hands, and I think it'll be Mount Barker who win the footy back. They do. They've picked up. Here's the captain, and the ruckman in Jackson as well. He flares a hand pass out wide, taken really well by Stone and sent inside forward 50. I reckon that's Patching again. He shares it with Jackson. He returns the favour as Zach Jackson kicks on goal, and he's sent it home. So it's almost the opposite of the previous goal, where Zach Jackson shared a handball with Patching, who was able to kick a goal. This time Dan Patching wins the footy, shares it with Jackson, and he's able to kick. I think that's his third goal as well. So those two midfielders certainly making themselves, putting themselves around about in the middle of the ground and playing really, really well for Mount Barker.
Again, Denmark struggling to get it out after a behind. They seem to kick to an out number each time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and they have sort of opted to go in that far wing a couple of times as well. So that's Mount Barker's 12th goal of the day. 6 of them coming from their two-star midfielders, and right on cue they share it with each other again. Long sweeping handball from Jackson finds McMahon, who's quite nimble on his feet, and he'll now send a ball inside forward 50, although Barry Roberts takes a good intercepting mark. And he sends a ball out wide. That's not his best kick of the day, although, did that land on the line? No, boundary umpire said that's out on the full. So it'll be Campbell McMahon last week's high flyer, to take the resulting free kick. He's going to send this one about 40 metres out from goal. On the lead is Jackson. Can't take it. It's picked up by Denmark, and they send it back. Oh, the chest mark dropped there by Mount Barker, so there'll be a bit of a scramble on now. Good pick up from the big Mount Barker player, although a really good tackle applied, and it will be a turnover. Not overly happy, the Mount Barker player. Don't think he liked that.
The free kick, ironically, to Candy. He tried to sell Candy to Candy, and he wasn't having any of it.
William Jones it was, who was caught by Candy, who sends a bit of a shocking kick forward. That one's gone out in the full. And smart play from that Mount Barker player, actually, who tried not to go for it, knew it was landing out in the full. And Joel Gray will take... Oh, no. We've seen some dodgy kicks in the last couple of minutes, Ian.
Couple out in the fulls, back to Candy.
And now a short kick doesn't reach the target from Denmark, and it's going to be a stoppage. Oh, there's a passage of play that you probably won't want to rewind if you're watching on the live stream. But in saying that, we've seen some awesome footy at times today as well. So
maybe some tired bodies getting around Mark at this stage of the game.
I think you might be right. As Mount Barker go forward once again, the ball sort of spiralled inside 50. It hits the deck, and it's picked up by the Mount Barker forward there, who has a snap on goal. I think it was Gowdy, and he could only manage a minor score. So they move to 13-11-89 to Denmark 5-5-35. I believe that's the score. As they do, they find a nice little mark from the kick-in, and now they share it, and they've got the footy, well, sort of 30 metres better off than they were when they were kicking out from goal. And in staying with the pattern of play in the last 5 minutes, the attempted switch, oh, that was a shocker.
I got excited the way they were coming out of defence then, and no, then they switched poorly.
They did. We were happy they found a couple of marks. As Mount Barker go to the top of the goal square, can't take the mark, but it's Gowdy who reads it best off the pack and grubbers through a goal. He's certainly been lively today, as well as Dylan Gowdy, and he read that one well off hands and was able to grubber through the most simplest of goals, probably the most simple one he'll kick today. And Mount Barker have 13. They lead this one. Oh, I think they have 14. 14-10-94. They've got a 59-point lead over Denmark, who are 5-5-35. And again, as we can expect probably with a youngish team in Denmark, there's sort of little patches where Mount Barker just getting on top.
Yeah, that's right. And Mount Barker with some of their better players, such as Patching, Gowdy, capitalising on some skill errors from Denmark Walpole.
Absolutely. Names, I assume, that will be very prominent in the Great Southern Footy League this year. And it is certainly good to watch Mount Barker, well, for my first time this year, as Patching picks up the footy. He's strongly tackled, and he's taken down by a couple of Denmark players. We'll have a repeat stoppage as Patching hands the footy back to the umpire. Up it goes. Rucks go at it. Jackson attacked that one really well, but it's sharked by Denmark, and they go forward, although leading the footy to the footy is the Mount Barker player. Oh, a strong shepherd from Patching. He's certainly putting himself around, although a free kick's been picked out. It's Denmark who will go forward. Here's your man, Carlton. He takes the footy. He sends it inside forward. 50, well read. What a fantastic piece of play, and really well read. I think that's Evan Delbene.
Yes, the young basketball prodigy.
Who's taken the mark about 40 metres out. He read the footy really well and was able to nudge his opponent under it and take a chest mark. He'll kick from, it'll be about 45 metres out, slightly left of centre, and a really good opportunity for young Delbene to kick a goal for Denmark as he sends it on its way. I like the look of that. We're right behind it, and the second that came off the boot, it looked good. And I think that's good to see as well. They all his teammates get around him, celebrating the goal. And to be honest, a darn good kick from Carlton Godfrey inside the forward 50 as well.
He's all class.
And Denmark have their sixth goal of the day. It's 6-5-41. They trailed the Bulls 14-10-94. The margin, I think that is sitting at 53 points at the moment. The scoreboard on the outer side, somewhat misleading. So we're trying to roll with the graphic that you can see on your live stream here, which I believe is correct. So a 53-point lead to the Bulls. Denmark certainly not disgraced today as the footy's back in the middle, and once again it's Sharked. He's been very impressive in the midfield, Josh Thompson. He sends this one to half forward. Pushed under the footy was the Denmark player, but he recovers well and now picks it up. So they will go inside forward 50. Where's it going to bounce? In front of a whole lot of them. Oh, they kind of watched it, and Mount Barker can repel, although there is a little 3-on-2 out here, but reinforcements arrive now. It's Scrappy. It's Patching with the footy. He picked up, couldn't get it clearly away. A dangerous kick into the middle of the ground, although taken well by Hogg. A really impressive mark, who looked to play in quickly by hand to Jackson. He fixes it up now. Hand passes to his mate and Patching, who sends the ball forward. It misses a teammate, but Mount Barker will recover first. They'll be onto it. A couple of players dive on the footy. He could be in trouble here, the Denmark player. No.
Held up well there. Again, Patching through the centre, class, isn't he?
He is classy. I thought the Denmark player might be in trouble for diving on the footy, but umpire said no. As that'll be a high tackle, and it's certainly our man Godfrey putting himself around a bit. He is off. He wastes no time. He wants to take the game on. Although, to the detriment. That looked like an ugly. Good. I was worried that player's knee sort of got caught under him there. A quick kick is intercepted. This could be a little quick chance for Denmark, as although Hogg recovers well, he tackles his opponent in Hamish McDonald, and now it's sort of held up a bit. But once again, putting himself around Josh Thompson. Maybe it's those bright yellow boots that are helping him stand out.
Ben Kirkwood limping off there. Come off unassisted, so hopefully nothing too serious there.
It is a bit cold out there, Ian, so maybe he's just copped a knock. Well sharked outside from the ruck contest, and they go forward. Player was on his own, but it's just gone over his head. So there is an outnumber. Can Denmark win the footy? No. That's very, very well held up by the Mount Barker player. I think that was Will Jones, and it was a really important ball to win there because he was outnumbered. It was sort of 3-on-1, 3-on-2, and he's able to win it as Jackson goes up unrivaled. And Mount Barker, unsurprisingly, win the footy forward, picked up by the other Jackson, who sort of sold the candy to nobody. I think we pick out a free kick here. The Mount Barker player sort of scooped it out, so that is an illegal disposal, and the free kick will be taken by Denmark. Right in the centre of the ground, he sends the ball forward. Not the best option. He's kicked it to a 2-on-1, and it's Dan Patching who takes the mark. I think we know where the votes are going for this game, Ian, as Dan Patching pushes back. Although, he's probably got stiff opposition because Zach Jackson's kicked 3 goals as well and certainly put himself around. Not Patching's best kick, but Jackson's there to try and fix it up. He scrabbles a kick forward, now picked up by Mount Barker. They've got a player outside here, running around, snapping on the right foot. It's just gone across the face of goal. I think that was Adam Large, who unfortunately couldn't go large. He's only kicked a minor. And it's 1 point to the score. Mount Barker 14-11-95. They lead this one by 54 points to Denmark 6-5-41 as they bring the footy in, and they've found a teammate, and they've found a couple of teammates. So a nice defensive exit here as they reach the wing. Ball's in front. I thought it was just to the advantage. A big hit there by the Mount Barker player, who actually comes away with the footy as well. Sends it inside 50. No mark can be taken. It looks like Denmark will be first back on it. And they share it by hand, and now they've found a target. And certainly, Simon Barker's been busy in this game. He sends a pass to Josh Thompson, who wants to go through the middle of the ground. You like to see that. Unfortunately, the mark's not taken, but really well recovered by Evan Delbene. He sends a ball to forward 50. Look at Godfrey. Look at him go, providing support. He's got a little 2-on-1, although his opponent arrives now as well, and the ball's held up. Right on the 3/4 time siren. That was a good little passage of play. God, his little legs moved quick there, didn't they, Ian?
I love it. It's like a little piston, isn't it?
They certainly were. As we do reach 3/4 time with the Denmark Footy Club. Look, going a lot better, I think. They are trailing by a fair bit, but a much improved effort from their previous 2 weeks from all accounts. 6-5-41. They trail Mount Barker 14-11-95 by 54 points. But, look, don't let the scoreboard fool you. We've seen some really nice passages of play from Denmark and some of the young kids getting involved.
Oh, good signs from Denmark. I think that would be their best quarter of the season. And like we said, Mount Barker just happened to have that bit of skill and capitalise when they went forward.
Yep, and it'll be a bit of a similar story as far as our best players go. I think Dan Patching once again and Zach Jackson being really, really busy in that third quarter there for the Mount Barker players. As you can see, they just get into their huddle on screen. Look, both kick goals in similar ways, Patching and Jackson, that quarter. They've certainly been the standouts. Ben Kirkwood also been pretty good. And where is he? Yeah, Dylan Gowdy is one that's probably sort of been prominent in my mind as well.
Yeah, big bodies taking full advantage, and same with the bearded hog.
The bearded hog, absolutely. We'll take a quick break here at McLean Park. We'll be with you shortly for the fourth quarter in round 3. It's the Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers and Point Insurance match of the day. At the moment, it's the Mount Barker Bulls leading this one by 54 points. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to McLean Park for the final quarter of this showdown between the Denmark Magpies and the Mount Barker Bulls here at McLean Park. It is the Bulls who hold a 54-point advantage as we get ready to start this fourth and final quarter, but it's certainly an impressive showing by Denmark, who haven't disgraced themselves at all. And before we do get underway, if you are interested in action from other areas of the Great Southern Footy League, it is Railways who are leading Royals at three-quarter time back in Albany, 9-6-60 to the Royals 2-3-15. So a 45-point lead to Railways, who will, you can only assume, cruise to victory, or barring a miracle last quarter from Royals. But here at McLean Park, we're watching the action between Mount Barker and Denmark, and it's final quarter action underway as Denmark win the centre clearance. It's chased out here to the commentary wing. A really good tackle applied, and Denmark will go further forward as the kick around the corner from Simon Barker can't quite find a teammate well effectively. I think we'll have a stoppage here, but a good start to this last quarter by Denmark as they will try and launch an attack from right half forward. Umpire throws the footy up. It's Jackson who wins the tap. Godfrey sharks it though. He sends a hand pass infield by, I think that's Roberts, who sends a kick to the forward line. We've heard a whistle early. Umpire's found a free kick and it's going the way of Mount Barker. So whether that was out in the full or not is inconsequential, because Barker has the footy. They go right back to the back pocket where Pavlovich takes the mark. He plays on. We'll look to complete the switch. Long, streaking ball outside to the right half-back flank for Barker. It wasn't the best kick, although it is... Oh, it was tidied up, but now the intercept mark taken by Denmark. That player, I think he might have been right on the boundary. He looked a little guilty as he juggled that, but nevertheless... Oh, I think we've got a 50-metre penalty here. We do. And it wasn't the best shot at goal either from the Denmark player who kicked around the corner, but he's going to be marched right to the goal line.
Was like he wanted to play on before the umpire changed his mind and then got the 50 for it. So, well done. Oh, now
what's happening here? What is happening here? Okay, so I think there's a bit of confusion going on all around the place. Umpire's actually running back and forward. I think he just wants to get his steps up. But it will be a shot from the top of the goal square as we first thought. Yep, it'll be Bradley Cochrane who pops it through, and the first goal of the last quarter belongs to Denmark, who kicked their 7th of the game, their 7-5-47 to Mount Barker 14-11-95. So a promising start to this last quarter from Denmark, and I suspect, as we spoke about in the third, all their coach would be asking, boys, let's try and win the quarter.
Yeah, promising start, like you said, and it's only going to give them confidence to run this game out.
Absolutely, and certainly don't want to get blown away as we've spoken about in the previous two rounds, and it doesn't look like happening at the moment. There was a little bit of confusion for that goal, but it is a goal to Denmark to start this final quarter as we sort of wait for the boundary umpires to run the footy back to the middle of the ground. It is there now, and he's hoping they can build on it as the umpire is ready to throw the ball back aloft. And he does now. Jackson can't quite win this tap. He's been pretty dominant in the centre, but it's taken by Denmark, so they'll go forward once again. It's right half forward for Denmark. It's actually the Mount Barker player who leads the race to the footy. And I think that was Darcy Wallinger who made sure the ball went out in front of...
Tarek Harfield.
Tarek Harfield.
And I did speak with the Barker bench to ask who the vice-captain was, and they said, let's make Tarek Harfield vice-captain for the day. So I'm not sure if he's the regular captain because he looks about 16 years old.
A youngster for Denmark. Certainly must be a reasonable footballer playing league footy. A really good chase-down tackle.
Big fish.
Yep. Big fish chasing down another big fish, and it's Godfrey who ends up with the footy at right half forward for Denmark. His forward 50 kick, not the best one of the day for him, trying to find his mate in Roberts, who I think is tried to soccer it. He's given away a free kick for kicking in danger, and ironically it's Zach Jackson who is almost right where he was tackled, so I don't think he moved too far from it. He finds a way forward. I think it's Stone who kicks a long ball. It's going to land at the top of the goal square. It spills to the back. Who's first there? It is Mount Barker, but he can't scramble it through McMahon, and it's just a minor score. So a good foray forward it was a bad turnover at half forward for Denmark because they were sort of caught on the hop, and a few of the Mount Barker players were still in the middle of the ground and they found themselves free. But only a minor score as the kick in from Denmark is sent long to their half-back flank. It's won by Mount Barker. Oh, good. Let's talk about selling candy. As they do that now, they're running in numbers. Zach Jackson receives the hand pass, stands up in a tackle. That was strong work. They're working it around by hand, Mount Barker, but no clear disposal. And it looks like Denmark will come in and try and turn this one over. They do. And the repelling kick outside forward 50. It's all Mount Barker out there. So it's coming straight back. Although, good pressure applied from the Denmark player. No mark can be taken defensively for Denmark. And it's Mount Barker who end up with it. Is that a legal hand pass? No, umpire says holding the ball. So again, good pressure from Denmark deep in their back line. They were under siege, but they're standing strong at the moment, and they use the spare player in the back pocket, and he chips further afield. And a good mark taken there by Marlon Mustelers, or the big fish, as Great Southern Footy League Operations Manager Ian Beck likes to call him. He's found a target out on centre wing.
Young basketball prodigy, Del Bean.
Yes, you do like Del Bean, don't you? He plays on. Scrubbers a kick forward. Not his best of the day. Mount Barker will send it straight back over his head, although Denmark camped under that. And a good mark taken defensively. He's looking for his options. He does see it. Godfrey's probably the one. It lands in between two players. Really well played by Pavlovich, but they've won it back. And Godfrey wins a free kick for a high tackle.
Bit of a magnet for the ball.
He is, and not surprisingly, he's off. He just wants to run. He's got the footy now. Hand pass to a teammate, gets it straight back. A bit of candy. He's probably going to have to send this one forward. He does, and not much out there. And the intercepting mark taken by Darcy Wallinger, who sends it into the middle of the ground. Again, well, I was going to say not the best option, but Dan Patching is probably always a good option. He wins the footy, and Mount Barker are away. Patching again, they're running in numbers. He doesn't like any options, so he goes backwards. And now he goes forward. It's a 2-on-1 there, but he's kicked it to his mate, Zach Jackson. He's going to have to beat two of them. He can't quite do that. Denmark pick up the footy. And they've won it again at half-back, but they are under pressure. They work it out by hand. A good smother. And it's sort of been held up here as the Mount Barker player, I think that was Hogg. Yeah, Reese Hogg was tackled by a Denmark player, and we'll have a ball up on the 50-metre arc. Right half forward for Mount Barker. Umpire throws it up. A big leap there. It was an impressive leap by Tate Harfield. He's won the tap, but it can't go any further than out of bounds.
Scores in Albany, Railways 60, Royals 15.
Yep, at the three-quarter time score, I think that was. So 45-point lead to Railways. They look like they'll run away with that one to preserve their perfect start to the year. They'll be 3-0, I think, won't they, Ian?
Yes, they will. Yes, Mark.
So certainly look like the ones to beat in there. That's a premiership defence, isn't it? They were our 2022 premiers.
Yeah, and played Albany Sharks, who are also undefeated. So the two grand finalists, starting well to the season and ones to beat.
There you go. As Mount Barker win the footy in the forward pocket, share it by hand. A kick forward. This one's going to land in a dangerous spot for Barker, and it does hit the deck. Can they work it out? Denmark, they can't quite. A quick kick on goal is just missing to the right. Trying to see who kicked that from Mount Barker. I think was it Watkin, or was the last one up McMahon?
Willie Watkin.
Willie Watkin. I like it. What a name. Just a minor score though. So Mount Barker moved to 14-13-97. They lead this one by an even 50 points over Denmark, who was 7-5-47. And Denmark looking to hold the footy, although that's a bit of a scratchy kick. Jackson can't quite pick it up cleanly. Denmark does now. They send a hand pass slightly forward. It's picked up by Zach Jackson again. And all on his own. At 45, he takes the mark 45 metres out. Just left of centre is Campbell McMahon, and he had absolutely no intention of looking at a teammate there, did he?
He could have just about strolled in himself, but no, he wanted to take the kick definitely. No pass from McMahon. He
took the mark straight away, pointed at the goals, and he'll kick for Mount Barker's 15th, and this will take them over the three figures. He's getting a bit of advice from the Denmark bench down here. As McMahon sends it on its way, it won't have the legs. It falls in the goal square, skews off hands, and sneaks through for a minor score. They move to 14-14-98. It's a 51-point lead over the Denmark Magpies, who are 7-5-47. as it's Roberts who takes all the territory that's offered to him, and he sends it long. It is intercepted, but at least it's a fair way from goal. There's a player all on his own at half forward. Who do you reckon it would be? It's Dan Patching. He sends a long ball forward, and he's drilled it. From about 50 metres out, Dan Patching kicks his 4th goal from the midfield, and he is busy.
You don't want to give him any space at all, and he had a paddock there to kick that goal.
He absolutely did. It works well with country footy. He had probably 2 paddocks to himself there, and not surprisingly, with the class we've seen from Dan Patching today, he's kicked his 4th goal. He's kicked Mount Barker's 15th, and that does take them over the ton. They are 15-14, 104. They lead this one by 57 points over Denmark, who are 7-5-47. About halfway through this last quarter, just a reminder as well that in the other game today, there's only 2 Saturday games in the Great Southern Footy League. It's Royals who are trailing by 45 points at 3/4 time as Mount Barker wins it out of the centre again. I thought Hogg might have been able to grab that, not quite, but he follows up. He picks up the footy now, flings out a hand pass to his mate Zach Jackson, and he's then sort of thrown out of it. Oh, the umpire said holding the ball. Oh, and wouldn't you know it, it was a very quick call, but he must have said something, and it's a 50-metre penalty for dissent. And again, standing next to the operations manager, I don't think we're unhappy about it. If the umpire makes a call, you just go with it. As Denmark find the ball inside their forward 50, a quick kick forward is sort of grubbing. It's picked up now by Denmark. A snap on goal. It was a check side, and it's hit the post. But the umpire's saying touched. I think it's actually hit both posts there. I think that's what's happened. I think it's hit the goal post and then the behind post. So it's a minor score. As Lee Pavlovich, the vice-captain, will bring it in. He looked out to this broadcast wing, thought better of it, and for good reason, because also in a paddock is a teammate on the far wing. He takes his full measure and he kicks long out in front of, I think that's Cam Walsh down there. He can't quite gain an effective disposal. In fact, he's kicked it out on the full. Under the scoreboard, which reads, well, that scoreboard reads 15-15, 105. Our scoreboard reads 15-14, 104. So we'll get you the official score. Look, I'm going to go with ours. Our man Ollie on the camera, he's pretty sharp when he updates the score, but we'll get that checked for you as the kick forward for Denmark is repelled by their captain, Mitch Jackson. Well, one of them. As he kicks it forward, he's found a teammate who's then also found Zach Jackson. These Jackson boys are busy. They're very busy today. And probably, certainly, being the pick of the bunch, Joel Gray also involved in that passage of play, sending it forward for Mount Barker as Jackson tries to take a couple of extra metres to make sure he makes that distance, but he couldn't quite, and he's kicked it behind to the near side. Barker moved to 15-15, 105 to Denmark, 7-6, 48. There's a short kick in. Captain Denmark.
Captain Cody Kerr tried hard today. Led from the front.
Yeah, absolutely. And not surprisingly, the ball's been down his end. But has led from the front. And look, when your team is sort of under the cosh, it's probably a good place for the captain to play down back. I suspect, he will be a prominent figure there for Denmark this year. But unfortunately, the exiting kick has been taken by Mount Barker, and there's a whole lot of space for Zach Jackson to lead into. And his teammate obliged, and he's kicked it straight to his chest. He's marked it about 20 metres out on a 45-degree angle. He'll kick it, I think, what might be his 5th goal here, Zach Jackson. It'll be his 4th or his 5th. And he's definitely been lively. He's rivalling his mate in midfield, Dan Patching, on the goal kicker's tally. He lets the ball go, and I think that sailed through. It's receiving some applause from his teammates on the goal line. It is a goal. So another one to Zach Jackson, who, again, like we said, we don't know how long he's playing down here. He was playing WAFL in Perth last week, but he's found his way into the country, into Denmark territory this week, and he's kicked another goal in what's been a really, really strong game from himself.
I could probably find out if I check my email. There should be a transfer request form waiting for me, so I'll go home and check that later.
Good to see you're all over that, Ian.
We do have a registrar, and I'm really just overseeing that part.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Get rid of those small jobs. Another goal to Mount Barker. They lead this one. I think it's 63 points now, the margin, so it's over 10 goals. But The ruck tack, it was sharked really well by Josh Thompson, but he couldn't get a clean disposal away. Dan Patching sends the ball inside forward 50. Well spoilt by the Denmark player. So they'll look to repel. Collision coming up. It's picked up by Denmark. They share it out of the back line. Kick it quickly. The player there's run down from Denmark. Really well done from McMahon. He sends it back to his ruckman in Jackson, who spirals, or probably more so tumbles a kick forward. And it's onto the chest
Straight off the bench.
of a Denmark defender, who now shares it
Jurek.
to Jurek on the half-back flank. He sends a kick in the middle. That's a bad miss. Who does it end up with? Dan Patching, long to the goal square. This one's off hands and goes to the back. Perhaps a little unselfish was Dan Patching. We know he's got the distance from there. He kicked a lovely goal earlier this quarter from around about the same distance, but he chose to try and set it up, and a minor score doing, as the mark is taken on half-back by Tate Harfield. He's had a couple of touches of the footy in this last quarter. Also in the fluoro boots, he sends a kick long out to the wing. It goes over the head of his intended target, but working hard over there to try and make an outnumber. I think that was Jack Marnie. Couldn't quite win the footy. He chases for a tackle. All he can do is shove his Mount Barker opponent off the ball, and it is Mount Barker who wins it. But he stays on it, and he does cause a bit of a rush kick into the middle of the ground. So good pressure. Good pressure there. And it's Bennett who's trying to gather the footy. Denmark have it at half forward.
Godfrey.
They pick up now. Here's your mate Godfrey, and wouldn't you know it, he sent a beautiful foot pass inside forward 50. Carlton Godfrey's skills today, all bar one that I can remember didn't hit the target, have been very, very good, and in a team of young players, that's what you need.
He's running at 98% effectiveness, basically.
So you've got him at 48 touches.
Yeah. And we called him early. There was a touch of class as soon as he went near the ball.
You did.
His first touch was a goal, actually.
He's found a teammate in Bradley Cochrane, who kicks on goal from about 45 metres out, and he rode it home. He flirted with that right-hand goalpost, but Cochrane's kicked a fantastic goal, and another for Denmark. Really well done as they get a goal about halfway through this last quarter. I think that's their 8th. 8-6-54. They trail Mount Barker 16-16, 112. And
Cochrane second. He seemed to. He's got better as the game's progressed. Had a year off footy, I believe. Is that?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, look, you'd probably know more. Yeah, it is. You read my notes. There you go. First year back to footy. I remember actually somebody telling me, I think he's been off for a little while. Not sure where he's been playing. But we're back in the middle now as a really good tap found Joel Gray, who shared it with Jackson, who then shared it with his ruckman, who sends it out wide, and they retain the footy. This is Seth Jones on half-back for Mount Barker. His kick not quite as good, and Dan Rolling takes the footy in my ear. I'm not sure you can hear that. Is Ian constantly calling him JK. But it's Barry Roberts who gets the footy. He's a man you want the ball in the hands of. He sends Denmark forward, and that's another good kick. Can't quite be marked, but Cochrane recovers well. He's going to snap on goal. It lands in the goal square and just goes across the face for a minor score. No, I think this is going to be it's a minor score. Yep, it is. It's just one behind for Mount Barker. They move to 55. They trail this one by 60... Oh, what's that? 57 points. And that's a really good kick out, actually. Campbell McMahon takes the mark on half-back. Probably not been as busy as he was in the first half, but certainly played well today. And he finds a teammate in Dylan Gowdy, who certainly has played well today. He sends a long kick. That's a really good kick. He finds a teammate loose in Jackson, shares it with handball to Joel Gray. He's got all the time in the world, and there's a few players running forward. Taking the mark is Skinner. He sends the ball inside 50, not his best kick, and it's intercepted, by Denmark, and they can repel. They've got the mark at half-back mark taken by Jurek, who assesses his options, and there's no real free target, so he's going to have to go down the line, and that'll fall short. Hogg can't quite take the mark. Picking it up is Mount Barker. They scramble a kick forward. Can't be taken cleanly. Oh, it is a bit scrappy. That might have been a throw if the umpire saw it. Well done. Picked up well there by Gray, who shares the ball to his teammate in Nigel Penny, who finishes the goal from about 40 metres out on this left half forward flank, and a pretty well worked goal from Mount Barker, a classy finish from Penny, and unselfish work from his teammate in the goal square, who ushers it through.
Yeah, a bit of scrappy play on the forward flank there, and then Barker again with some class and some polish to finish with from Penny.
You can see that with these senior players, and they're sort of running on the ground perhaps a little better as we approach this the final stages of this game. But that is Mount Barker's 17th goal, I think. We've got them at 17-16, 118, leading Denmark 8-7-55. The scoreboard... Well, I'll say the scoreboard shows something similar. It's not identical. We're gonna back our man Ollie behind the camera with his scoreboard prowess as a really good tap there by Mitch Jackson in the ruck again, but they can't quite win it cleanly, and it's going to be Denmark who send the footy forward. The ball lands about 50 metres out. A really good defensive mark. Yeah, I think that's Pavlovic, who's played pretty well today as well. Look, the ball hasn't been down there all that much, but he's been good when it has. Joel Gray takes a mark, shares by handball, not his best, and Darcy Wallinger can't win the footy. It is a turnover, so Denmark will go forward. Here's Roberts who tries to fend off, and he does beautifully. He fends off one, he finds a loose teammate who then hits another teammate on the chest about 45 metres out. They've got players free everywhere, they can raffle it, and really unselfish play, and the mark's taken by Marlon Mastelers, I think that's it.
I think it's the big fish.
I mean, it is certainly the big fish. I just want to get his surname right. Mastelers. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm not. But he has taken the mark. He'll kick for goal around about 35 metres out. He looks to be pretty much directly in front. He sends it on its way. I think that's drifted across the right. So not his best kick for young Marlon, and it's just a minor score.
Good to see Denmark Walpole still running hard and finishing off the game. It would have been good for the big fish to end on a good note with a goal there.
Certainly would have. 62 points is the margin. Can they get this one inside 10 goals, Denmark? Look, regardless of what happens from here, I think it's certainly a performance they can hold their heads high for, as Mount Barker send the footy to this broadcast wing. Mark can't be taken by Gray. He follows up really well. Backhand pass. Oh, and then just a sort of a hand pass in hope finds McMahon back to Gray, and he sends the footy into the centre of the ground. What a brilliant kick. That's Pavlovic who takes the mark. He's got options aplenty as well. He uses it by hand. They send it out wide. I can't quite see who that player is, but he crosses the 50 and sends it long inside forward 50 over the head of two players, and it beats Jackson out of bounds. We'll have a throw in next to the behind post for Mount Barker. They move that ball right through the middle of the ground, and they just absolutely slice them. But the finishing product just wasn't there. They lead this one by 62 points as we approach the very final stages of this game in round 3 of the Great Southern Footy League. One of 2 games on Saturday. We do have a Mother's Day game as well tomorrow. Ian, who's playing in that Mother's Day game?
I thought Mother's Day was next Sunday.
Oh, yep, I've absolutely stuffed that up, haven't I?
Yes. And while we're on that, actually, the Sunday game for Mother's Day has changed between Sharks and Railways, and it's been moved to the Saturday because of Mother's Day.
Okay, there you go. So,
I granted that request because I thought it was a nice touch.
I think that's fair. Spend the day with your mothers. All of the great Southern football players, you've got no excuse not to. So, it is Denmark who repelled this one. Oh, the attempted fly. I think that was a little unrealistic, but the umpire had a bit of theatre. He says play on. Mount Barker go back inside forward 50. Players flying from everywhere. Denmark win the footy at ground level again. Although really good forward pressure. I think that was Penny, and he's caused a ball in the right forward pocket for Mount Barker.
With time running out, everyone's going for a retrovision mark of the day contender suddenly.
Yeah, because I'm not sure we've really had one today, have we? No. We've certainly had some brilliant goals, so we'll be able to discuss them with you as the ball's thrown in, and it's going to have to be done so once again. We're in the right forward pocket for Mount Barker late in this... Well, it's starting to get a bit blustery in this combox as well, Ian, because our papers are flying everywhere. We're late in this 4th quarter. It's a 62-point lead to Mount Barker. And the umpire's picked out a free kick. No, he hasn't. He said, I'm going to ball this one up. And he does so about 25 metres out from the Mount Barker goal as Mitch Jackson goes up nice and high. He can't win it to a teammate. Overrun there. And it's picked up by Denmark, so they'll repel from half-back. Kick into the middle of the ground. Doesn't find a teammate, but he follows up. Done really well. Now the kick will be flared right across the ground. They are outnumbered here, Denmark, so they need to try and win the footy. A really good chase down tackle. The umpire says holding the ball. And
unlucky there, Delbene. I thought he got hands to it.
Yeah, I thought he might have got a handball away as well, but not to be. And it was a good tackle from Willie Watkin, who sends a ball infield. Ooh, just avoiding a tackle, and Mount Barker will come away now. And they're running through the middle of the ground. This is Darcy Wallinger. He sends the ball out to the far wing. Good mark taken on the stretch. Opts not to play on. He's got a player on in short. This is Seth Jones who takes the mark. As he pushes back, he'll send Mount Barker inside forward 50. Ball lands about 35 metres out and almost uncontested. It's that man, Zach Jackson, again, who takes the mark.
Arguably mark of the day. I'm calling that.
There you go. We might have to call it mark of the day. We haven't seen too many flies. And, well, we were kind of hoping that Campbell McMahon might have another fly after last week. Not to be. But certainly one of today's better players, Zach Jackson's taken a mark. 35 metres out, just right of centre. I think I can hear the siren blaring. He kicks it on the final siren. He kicks it across the face of goal. So can't cap it off with a goal to finish. But a really strong performance from Mount Barker, from Zach Jackson as well, and a few others. I think the final score, that moves Mount Barker to 17-17, 119 to Denmark. Okay, I think we're going to change that. I think we're going to roll with the scoreboard. So I'm not sure if you can quite catch that on the live stream. So we'll call the final score Denmark 17-18, 120 has beaten Denmark 8-9-57. Our apologies for the slight scoreboard discrepancies, but that's the one we're going to roll with. So it's Mount Barker by 63 points have won this round 3 matchup at McLean Park. How did you see it, Ian?
I'd say both teams got a fair bit out of that. I think Denmark Walpole will go happy. They fought it out the 4 quarters. Some of their young players, like we said earlier, got a lot of exposure. And like I said, fought it out right to the end. Well done. Yeah,
and look, after their results from the previous 2 weeks, I think there is a lot to take out of this for Denmark. They, well, what was it, 187 points and 102?
189 and 104 previously. So.
Yeah, and so to go down by 63 points, look, it's not ideal, but that's a market improvement, so can certainly hold their heads high. Some of our better players from Mount Barker in this 63-point win. Look, I don't know how you split them, but for me, probably Dan Patching. He was prolific through the midfield.
I'm going 3 votes D Patching, 2 votes Z Jackson.
Yeah, Patching and Jackson were really outstanding for Mount Barker, and also making himself busy was Dylan Gowdy. We noticed perhaps faded a little bit in that last quarter, but he was also pretty good. Reece Hogg was we saw him a bit, or maybe that's just because he's got a big beard.
And Campbell McMahon had an excellent first quarter, faded in the second when Barry Roberts went onto him, but did finish strongly as well.
Yeah, so you know, some good players there. I think for Denmark. Well, you know what? He was your cult hero, but yes. I think Carlton Godfrey was pretty good.
I'm going to see Godfrey 1 vote.
There you go. The other one, and look, to be expected, Barry Roberts, he uses the footy really well. That's obviously the first time I've seen him play, but across half back there, he, like you said, he sort of quelled McMahon's influence a little bit, but used the footy really well.
Yeah, and the big fish, he was good. Good all game, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, Marlon Mastelers. That's what we're going with. Sorry if that's wrong, but he did also have a good game. Now, the Wellington and Reeves goal of the day. We certainly had a lot of contenders for that. Who are we going with?
Well, I've narrowed it down to 2. We had Dylan Gowdy snap, and then we had Bailey Bennett late in the 3rd quarter, and I think I'm going to go with Gowdy. With beautiful snap. I'm liking the snap, as you said.
You are liking the snap. Yeah, and it was a good snap. And at that point of the game, look, whilst Mount Barker was on top, it was still reasonably close, so an important goal as well. So well done, Dylan Gowdy, for the Wellington and Reeves goal of the day. Look, we'll tell you that Retrovision Albany sponsor the mark of the day, but I'm not sure we're going to give one out here because it certainly won't win mark of the year.
Well, Zach Jackson in the last minute, basically, it was a nice pack mark, but probably Nicholas Ashford and Caden Pinney's marks last week were class above.
Yeah, they were good grabs as well. So they were some of our better players, some of our better moments of this game, and I think that's just about all we've got time for. So we're back we're back on Friday for the women's grand final in Albany, which will be great, and good for the women's game as well.
Yeah, Royals versus Albany at Retrovision Stadium next Friday, 6:45 start, and I'm heading straight back home to go to the GSFLW Awards tonight.
Brilliant. You're a busy man at the moment, Ian.
I know.
Hard to catch you. So that is all we've got time for here in round 3 from McLean Park. It was the Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers and Point Insurance match of the day in the Great Southern Footy League. It was between Mount Barker and Denmark. Mount Barker prevailing by 63 points. Final score 17-18, 120 to Denmark 8-9, 57. By, like I said, 63 points. A pretty comprehensive game from Mount Barker, but certainly a lot to take from the game by the Magpies. Ian, you're a busy man, but thank you very much for your company this afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mark, and good afternoon, listeners, and I'll be heading off.
I look forward to seeing you on the next stream. We are back next Saturday for round 4 of the Great Southern Football League. Thank you very much for your company, and to our man Ollie behind the camera as well. My name's Mark Foreman. We'll see you next week.